for long distances across state lines, and they will dehydrate them and they will starve them. By the time that they get to an enclosure that the hunter has already built for the animal, they will release the animal into the enclosure weakened, dehydrated, and starving. In some cases, they will even go as far as to rip out the teeth of the animal first, and then they will stick their dog on the animal, and their dog will tear them to shreds, and that's how they teach their dog. It's very cruel, it's very inhumane. Again, there are petitions we can sign to like change this reality in our country. And unfortunately, it doesn't really help with anything. It just kind of makes matters worse. But there is something that we can do with coyotes on our property where we don't have to kill them and we can get rid of them. And it is called coyote hazing. So if you have issues with coyotes on your property, the best thing that you can do is be as loud and crazy looking as possible, and it will probably help with problem neighbors as well. I've heard that works too. You can put coins into a jar, shake it up really loudly, bang pots and pans around, open and close umbrellas. You can even install motion censored lights on your property. Coyotes are also neophobic, so these little changes make them think that their house is haunted. And then what they do, since they den for life, is they will mark that area and leave. And other coyotes that come by won't den there because they'll pick up from that smell. Oh, I can't live here, this place is haunted. But if you kill a coyote on your property and they haven't marked that area before they left it, a lot of times other neighboring coyotes will come over and be like, oh, there's all this extra research, there's all this extra food instinctually at their litter site. So that's one thing that you can do. Although coyotes, I will say, are not bad to have around. They are great rodent control, they're great disease and pest control. Actually, we do still have bubonic plague and hantavirus in Colorado, and in some other areas of the U.S. there's Lyme disease, plenty of other diseases around. They actually can eat these rodents, and their immune systems are so well adapted that these diseases will not affect them. It'll just pass through their system, go out to their scat, and then the UV rays from the sun will kill that disease. So they're actually very, very helpful to have around. So I know that I talked badly about some forms of hunting. We aren't anti-protein hunting here though. We do appreciate our protein hunters because they have a much more noble job ahead of them. They actually hunt for use of the full animal, feed their families, for those hides and bones, and even sometimes we do get donations from protein hunters for our animals to help enrich their experiences here. So we do really appreciate that, but I will just say, if any of you guys are protein hunters, we do have chronic wasting disease in the state of Colorado, so I just really encourage everybody to get your meat checked before you go ahead and eat it. It is a zoonotic disease, and the last thing we need is another pandemic. All right, anybody have any questions about coyotes? Great. All right, we'll go ahead and meet our next bull. Black-faced gray wolves will start all black, and that gray will start to phase in over time. Alright, Mr. Rockstick here is another one of our Arctic wolves. He's actually Mr. Ethan's brother. As you can tell, he has that normal black nose. He was born darker. And something else about Arctic wolves, that subspecies is a little bit different than other gray wolves because of the climate that they live in. So their ears are a little bit smaller. Their snouts are a little bit shorter, and their legs are a little bit shorter to help retain some of that body heat. Their coats are also a little bit different. So all wolves have two layers to their coat. They have that more insulating lower layer that is more kind of like, I guess, somewhat the equivalent of down, I would say. And then they have this top slick layer with certain oils that kind of helps insulate, but it acts more like a raincoat. Now, Mr. Rockstick here has the same kind of layering to his coat as any other gray wolf would. But the difference is a gray wolf can actually get down to -40 degrees before they start shivering. And an Arctic wolf can get down to -70 degrees before they start to die. Why is this? He actually lacks pigmentation in his coat, which makes his hair follicles hollow, and that actually helps to capture some sunlight and retain that heat for longer. So Arctic wolves have very, very efficient coats. Now Miss Shaka here, as you can tell, she's got that beautiful look of a dark wolf with amber eyes that you would expect to just sit on a boulder and howl at the moon, right? Now, does anybody here actually think that wolves howl at the moon? It's okay if you do. I'm wondering what you guys think. All right, well, actually, wolves do not howl at the moon. They don't. But I could see why someone would think that. They are actually more active during full moon because there's more light, and they're creatures that are crepuscular. So they're known as crepuscular, which means that they are more active during dusk or dawn. So when there's more moonlight, there's more activity. And really they howl to communicate. They howl to communicate anything. So it could be, Bob's a member of our pack. I haven't seen Bob in the last 4 hours. Bob, where you at? Or it could be, oh hey guys, like I got this really cool snack over here. It's pretty delicious. You might want to come check it out. Or hey, other wolves over there. This is our land. Stay over there. So there's many different things that wolves try to communicate with each other. Part of the reason that they howl up is it really helps to expand that range. The higher up that they get to do the howl, the farther that range is, and their howls can go up to about 10 miles in range, the longest. All right, we're going to move on to our next wolf here.
So true.
Let's get us by your treats right now.
Now Mr. Riker's a really good example of a gray wolf build here. He's got that large head, which actually houses a brain that is 30% larger than your average domesticated dog. Wolves are very, very intellectual creatures. You can see that he's got very, very long legs. Those are actually very, very useful hunting tools. Wolves are known as marathon hunters, which means that they can actually hunt anywhere from, they can go 30 to 50 miles without stopping and looking speeds of 5 miles per hour for longer hunts. They do this because they're not very great hunters. They do this to wear out their prey, so they typically go for the weakest, sickest, or youngest animals in a herd. And a lot of the time they're only, like on average, depending on the wolf pack that you're looking at, they're only successful about 5 to 20% of the time in the wild with their hunt. So like the 2 tools that they have to hunt, they really, really use. Now, of course, his larger head does also house a very intense bite force. Now, with humans, our average bite force is around 150 pounds per square inch. With domesticated dogs, your average bite force is about 240 pounds per square inch, and the average African lion has an average bite force of around 900 pounds per square inch. Does anyone want to guess what a wolf's bite force can get up to? How much?
1,200.
Actually, it's pretty close. It's not too bad of a guess. They actually can get up to 1,500 pounds per square inch in bite force. And part of this is because they're such bad hunters. One, they hunt ungulates, which are hoofed mammals, so one swift kick to the head or the chest or the leg is a death sentence for a wolf. Again, that's why they hunt the types of animals they do, but it's because of this that they have such a strong bite force, so that one bite will be really, really effective for them. There's also a pack hierarchy that wolves live in. Obviously your omegas will eat last and your alphas will eat first. So there is that alpha pair, which are the mom and dad of the pack, literally. They make all the decisions and kind of manage the pack. You then have your betas who kind of enforce the decision making of the alphas and kind of help with some of the hunts as well. Your subordinates, who are just pretty much the rest of the pack generally, and they help with a lot of the hunts. And then your omegas, which are the lowest ranking members and the ones who tend to be picked on the most at the very bottom. They tend to eat last. But they do kind of border patrol for the rest of the pack and checking on their territory. Now omegas, actually, fun fact about them, they don't have to stay omegas. It's kind of like going from secretary one day to CEO of the company the next day. They can decide to peel off from the pack if they want to. If they find a new mate, they automatically become an alpha pair for a new pack. So it's a really cool fact. Anybody have any more questions about Mr. Mike here? No? All right, I'm going to actually go ahead and turn things over to Mr. Kirk, and he's going to be giving the rest of the tour to you guys.
Starting to snow. folks, so in here we have Navi and Tala. This is Navi right here. He's a 10-year-old black-faced gray wolf. Tala's over there eating her breakfast right now. We'll see her in a minute. Now, Tala is an 11-year-old gray wolf. He's about 110 pounds, just to give you an idea how big he is. Tala's about 60 pounds. Now, just take a look at Navi's paws here real fast. They're huge, aren't they? So wolves have really, really large paws. They spread those paws that are 5 inches wide. They have a little webbing in between them as well. Helps them walk attack a harder pack snow like little snowshoes. And their front paws are larger than their back paws, and every time their front paw lands, their back paw lands the exact same spot. So if they're chasing prey through soft snow, front paw goes in, makes a big hole. Back paw lands in the exact same hole as that front paw. Allows them to move faster, chase their prey. Now, Navi here's got a nickname. His nickname is Mr. Hollywood. That's for a couple of reasons. One, the name Navi comes from the movie Avatar. So the blue alien tribe in that movie was named the Navi. They wouldn't like the message so much that the next wolf I get, I'm naming Navi. Second reason called Mr. Hollywood because his uncle is famous in Hollywood. It's like one of the CGI models for the werewolves in the Twilight series movies. So if you have seen these movies, you do not need to raise your hand, admit to watch them, or anything like that, but if you have seen them. The second film in that series was a character named Sam, the black CGI werewolf, wolf Sam, that was based off of Navi's uncle. And the third reason is called Mr. Hollywood because he's absolutely extremely handsome. He knows it. He thinks he should be in Hollywood himself. Got these beautiful yellow eyes you can see right there. Now, adult wolves are going to have golden, yellow, amber, or brown shades of eyes. That's the colors they have. Now, puppies are actually born blind and deaf. They only weigh about a pound, and when they open their eyes, they do have blue eyes. In about 6 to 8 weeks, their eyes will always start to turn colors. That should be in that golden, yellow, amber, or brown shade. If you see a large animal, it looks like a wolf, and it has blue eyes, you're looking at a dog. It sometimes has a whole lot of domestic dog in it because that's strictly a domestic dog trait. And then Tala, let's walk down here to see her, so come on down. Come on, Navi. Oh, yeah.
Look at the food she's got. Look at this. No, right here.
And then, so this is Tala right here. She's finished up her breakfast. Now Tala, she's got 2 nicknames actually here at the center. Her first nickname is Gossip Girl because she does start 95% of all the group howls around here. When the howl kicks off, she's usually the culprit. Her second nickname is Tiny but Mighty because she's very, very strong. You do walk somewhere alone, you have to go walk on leash and harness. You take them to the day spa. They have a day spa. They're not spoiled at all. It's got a pond they can swim in the summer. Big aspen grove they can run through. And I can walk Navi all by myself. Now there's always a second staff member just in case. It's a nice, enjoyable, leisurely stroll. I like walking. Tala, nobody likes to walk Tala. It's 2 staff members, a harness, a collar, 2 leashes. It's a dead sprint everywhere we go. So we know to pull 2 of us down to our knees. So tiny but. Any questions about these 2? All right, then we're going to talk about our messy grays right over here. We got C1 eating breakfast up front. That's Diego. And Dakota's up there on the hill. They are 3-year-old Mexican gray wolves. Now, Mexican gray wolves are smaller in size. They weigh about 60 to 80 pounds. They have larger ears compared to their head size, much more like coyotes' ears. They help them in heat and hot, dry climate. They have a little mane around their neck and a little bit longer than they actually are. Now, they are part of the species survival plan. They are an endangered animal, and they're actually owned by the federal government. We simply house them the government, and that's why the reports look so much different. It's not because they're mean or dangerous, it's because the government says we have to build them this way. Now these 2 are actually brothers. They were actually born in the wild. They were swapped out of the wild in what's called cross fostering or pup fostering. So the way they manage the Mexican Gray program, got puppies born in the zoo. Watch when mother wolf has pups out in the wild. When she goes out to hunt, they take puppies from the zoo. They sneak out and they add them to the den. Sometimes they'll swap them out. In these guys' case, they did swap them out. The pack was very small, very isolated, did not want to see inbreeding happening. They have bad enough genes as it is. As Julie mentioned, they only came from 7 wolves to start with just 1 female. And so these 2 will probably never go back to the wild. It's possible, but highly unlikely. But they could be used as sperm donors to make other Mexican gray wolves. They'll put those pups into other packs, spread the genes around the best they can. Now, what happens though when mother wolf comes home from hunting? Well, let me count my puppies. I had 4 puppies, and I now seem to have 6 puppies. This is very, very strange. That's okay though. Wolves love puppies, they really do. Of all the apex predators, they're the ones that routinely adopt puppies from outside their own pack, their own family, raise them as their own, teach them how to hunt, and incorporate pack life. The other apex predators, your bears, your lions, things like that, they'll tend to kill all rivals to include pups and cubs. So very social animals. So don't be afraid of wolves. Unfortunately, people are still afraid of them. So much so that in 2013 in certain counties in New Mexico, started building kid cages for their kids. The kids stand up fully enclosed cages at the bus stop because they're so afraid to be attacked and be killed by a wolf. People want to guess in the last 150 years in the lower 48 states how many people have been attacked and killed by a wolf? 0. Yeah, it's none. People are like, well, there's only a few thousand wolves here. Well, let's take Canada, for example. There's about 30,000 wolves in Canada. Last 150 years, one reported attacked by a wolf, and that was disputed. The person said he was attacked and killed by a wolf, never saw the body. People who saw the body says attacked and killed by a man. So again, if you see a wolf in the wild, do not be afraid of them. Take a picture. Count yourself very, very lucky. It's a very magical experience. Now, some people, how many people out here are from Colorado? From Colorado? All right, so we're doing the reintroduction effort here in Colorado. It's going to be coming up by 2023. And a lot of the ranchers around here say, we don't want wolves back because they're going to kill all our sheep and all our cattle. Now I'm going to tell you, wolves never feed on livestock. They do it. It happens very, very rarely. It's called depredation. In the Rocky Mountain area, they only account for about 0.1% of all livestock death. Very, very small percentage. Of the top 20 reasons why depredation happens, wolves are 19 on that list, only below that bears. Above that, you got domestic dogs, birds of prey, things like that. So they account for a very small percentage. Ranchers will be reimbursed in the state if that doesn't happen. Anybody have any questions about our Mexican Greys? All right, let's go meet Coda and Amrock right over here. Coda! Amrock's walking around the studio, so we'll stand here and talk with you. All right, so we're up Coda and Amrock. This is Coda right here. Amrock's wandering up the hill with his breakfast. He hasn't eaten it yet. He doesn't want Coda to get it. Now, we'll move halfway up so we can hopefully see a boat. I see you with your food, Amrock. All right, so Coda. So Coda's a 12-year-old gray wolf. Amrock's a 6-year-old black-faced gray wolf. Coda. 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 Who's that? Now, she's a prime example of wolf paw.